I think we can all think of a lot of very young people who are extremely successful, millionaires, famous, rich, Grammys, awards, starting their own businesses. It seems like there is an infinite number of people under the age of 25 who are just absolutely fucking killing it, and I think for a lot of us it's become this ideal that's almost suffocating. We're back for another chatty video, and today we are talking about the pressure to be wildly, unrealistically successful in your 20s or even earlier. I'm 22, I graduated from college not too long ago, and I have been suffering from this absolutely insane sense of urgency, as if I'm running out of time. Even though I literally just left school, I feel like I need to be accomplishing everything now. I feel like if I'm not working for myself by the end of this year, if I'm not making six figures soon, that I'm literally a failure. And I don't think this is any surprise because of what we aspire to. You know, I have a Pinterest account. I reblog those like fancy ass, like pretty city view apartments with the simple but huge couch and just the right amount of fancy home decor. Like, I see those pictures, and that's not my vision for myself at 40. That's my vision for myself at 23. You see these young people with these incredible lifestyles and so much to show for themselves, so much success, and we have this idea that if we aren't there, if we aren't achieving those things soon, we're going to like miss that window of opportunity. Let's sort of get into where this pressure comes from. Why do we think we need to be successful in our 20s? Obviously, media, popular culture, and social media is the #1 reason and culprit. There's something very romantic about the way that we think about our younger years, and at least from the brain of someone who's in their early 20s, anything past 40 is really difficult for me to look at romantically or longingly. Our society doesn't really admire aging or look forward to aging. Our entire culture is pushing towards younger all the time. Younger stars, younger celebrities, products to make you look younger, praising older people who have managed to stay looking young. All of these messages, right, that aging is no good. So it really compresses the timeline that we have to do things. Realistically, your career goes on for decades and decades past your 20s. The 20s is really just the beginning, getting your feet wet stage, if you think about it logically in terms of your lifespan, right? Assuming you want to continue growing and evolving throughout your life. But in our brains, where we feel like the 20s is our golden age, our prime, we feel like the 20s is when we're physically the most attractive. It's the golden time, according to society. Everyone feels the need to rush and to get successful while they're still in this prime. Nobody wants that later long-term success, even if that's way more realistic and more evenly spaced. It's also really tricky because something I constantly have to remind myself is that in actuality, the trajectory of succeeding later in life is a lot more appealing than the trajectory of succeeding really exponentially, really young. Here's how I look at it sometimes in my mind to just make myself feel better about it. The thing is that in actuality, young success is not even that great, and we've seen all the horror stories about child stars or people who got really fast, quick success, one-hit wonders. Like, yeah, it's awesome in the moment if you can get over the stress, but then it's like, where do you go from there? What do you work towards? What do you strive for? You don't have any sense of reference because you've never had to work a normal job. You don't even realize how lucky you are if you're successful that young because you don't have anything to compare it to. Plus, the satisfaction of working to get there is not going to be as fulfilling if it comes to you very easily and quickly versus if it's something that you invest time and energy into over the long term. Obviously, that's going to be more rewarding as well as more sustainable, because really crazy exponential spikes of growth and success do not sustain. They don't last forever. We've seen over and over again how detrimental that is for these people's mental health, yet it's still what we all want more than anything. We want to live that luxurious lifestyle at a young age. We want to enjoy it while we think we're still at our peak attractiveness. And we want the flex of being young with money, being young with success, because it's not the norm. It's so appealing. I think it's a tricky line because while I think it's important to be realistic with ourselves and take some of that crazy societal pressure off, to take things one step at a time, it's really tough to talk about this because it is still something I want. I still am hustling really hard for this hope of hitting success, drastically changing my life and my financial reality, and even though these are things that I actively want and am pursuing right now, I also am aware of the toxicity of this idea. And it's like this push and pull where it's like, I still want this, but also here I am talking about how toxic and unrealistic it is. Obviously, there are people that are young and successful. It does happen, but it is the one in a million, the one person that we look up to, you know, it's the celebrities, it's the crazy success stories. And it's really tricky to know how to approach all of this, because I don't think the solution is to be less ambitious or to give up on our goals and just say, well, you know what, you're right. Like, I'm young. I don't have to worry about any of this shit until I'm 50. Then I'll get serious. I don't think that's the solution either. I still think it's good to be ambitious. And I do think that these early years can really set the tone for how you operate in your life. So I don't think they're just throwaways either. I think it's like a very delicate balancing act of like, yes, it's great to try and build things for yourself young when you can, when you have the time, when you have the resources, when you have the energy, but also to be realistic about the amount of time it takes to accomplish these things, and that it's not going to be this overnight success while you're still in high school. Most likely. It could be. There are a lot of times when I look at things like YouTube or, you know, starting my own businesses, and I'm like, God, I wish I had done this in school when I had, you know, free summers and free nights off, and I could have just worked on these things and had money when I left college, you know, been set up for my career and not had to get a job. There are so many times when I think that and I'm like, God, I wish I had started this channel 6 years ago. There's always going to be that pressure, that trap, that idea that we are behind, that we are not doing enough, that we should have started earlier. And where this really becomes frustrating is when you feel like you are giving it your all, you're throwing yourself into what you think you should be doing as hard as you can, and you're still not seeing that progress, and then it becomes almost like a personal failure. There are people my age that have this and are running their own businesses and are doing exactly what I want to do, and the fact that I can't do it must be something wrong with me because I'm trying and it's not happening for me. And that's where I think things become really dangerous. When it becomes a personal problem where you start feeling bad about yourself and you're like, there's something wrong with me. When in actuality, you're just holding yourself to way too strict of a standard and such a specific, unrealistic idea of how quickly you're supposed to be able to blow up. This whole idea of blowing up is so romanticized, of your entire life turning upside down in 1 year. And we don't think about the fact that for most people, it takes at least a few years for things to get off the ground. And if you didn't start at fucking 14 years old, it's probably not gonna happen for you in your teenage years like it did for Billie Eilish or Emma Chamberlain. I'm going to give this example, but I want to make it so clear that this is not me trashing on her, because truly I think she seems like a wonderful, lovely girl. But let's take like Charli D'Amelio, for example. She was really young and she became successful very quickly. She basically describes the fact that she posted something and didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden she was famous. And yeah, that's fucking cool. She has a shit ton of money. I think we would all love to live in our house. But I can't imagine that it's very fulfilling or satisfying for her to have gotten that really random, really explosive success for something that she did so casually. It's not like she was really trying to build something for herself. It almost happened by accident or by coincidence. Success where you put your heart into something and you put your effort and your love into a goal that you have, into a passion that you have, is gonna feel much more your own and much better when you do achieve that thing than sort of random, unexpected, blow up level success where yes, you're getting praise, you're getting love, you're getting followers, you're gaining money. And of course, this is just me assuming because I'm not in this situation, you know, I'm not Charli D'Amelio. But I'm sure that she feels sort of detached from all of it. She probably can't process a lot of what's happening because it is this explosive, out of nowhere success, not something that she was putting sweat and tears into long term. So yes, your goal might be taking longer than you want, and you might not be in that dream apartment or that dream life right now. I know I have aspirations that absolutely just like set me on fire and make me so excited, and I'm not there. You know, I'm 22 and I'm not there, and that's okay, and that's normal, and I don't need to be there yet, you know? It doesn't mean I'm never gonna reach it. This self-imposed urgency is false. I can still get there, even if I don't get there by 23. And I think that this sense of a ticking time bomb of like, if I haven't, you know, made huge progress in the next year, then it's just not happening for me. Then I've missed the boat and, you know, I'm gonna be stuck in this life forever. Like, that is such a toxic, stuck, like non-growth mentality, and I just don't want to live like that. I don't want to think like that. Your life is capable of changing at any time, at any age, and if you don't have everything figured out, or you don't have the success you've always dreamed of in your 20s or even your 30s, that's okay. We have an entire life to figure this thing out, and as long as you're enjoying the stage that you're at and staying grateful for what you do have, there's no harm in continuing to strive for more, as long as you keep your mental health protected in the meantime. So the main takeaways here are to take some fucking pressure off yourself, to take your time. You have so much more time than you think you do. And if you feel like your deadline is 25, you are discounting the vast majority of your life. Life doesn't stop at age 30. In fact, it continues on for way past that. And even though the 20s are important and they're great, it's not the end of your life. And you don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to have your ideal income level right away. These things do take time. And if I accomplish everything I want right now, like, what am I gonna spend the rest of my life doing? Having goals is part of what makes life interesting and exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed another chatty video. I love just sitting on my bed and talking about these topics, so hopefully you enjoy it too. Definitely like this video if you did like it. If you've been watching my content, I love you. It means so, so much to me. Leave my videos playing while you do the dishes so I can increase my watch time. I'm joking. I'm only kind of joking. All right, I love you guys. Bye.